the different peaks that we get to see here. So right behind me, the second highest peak of India, Nanda Devi Peak, जो historically आज तक कोई भी climber उसको climb नहीं कर पाया है, and that's also marks the India-China border. Okay, so that's Nanda Devi Peak. यहाँ से उस नंदा देवी पीक तक जाने के लिए करीबन 80 किलोमीटर लंबा रास्ता है, रोड है. उसके बाद वहाँ से 7 दिन का पैदल यात्रा है to reach the foothills of Nanda Devi. And our military, our army is over there. So they walk all the way, things like that. Can we? आप लोग सब आगे आ जाओगे? No, आप लोग आगे चलो सब. Not over here. Okay. So what was I saying? Yeah. So like that, right next to that Nanda Devi peak on my left hand side, there is another peak. वहाँ पे there is a pond, a lake. वैसे कोई जाता नहीं है क्योंकि बहुत मुश्किल है, but it has its own spiritual significance when I was asking the local team here. उस प्रकार से. साथ ही साथ आप now you see something right behind me. There is a mountain. उसके पीछे एक और पर्वत आता है, उसको त्रिशूल पर्वत कहा जाता है. Because of the clouds around here, we're not able to see the peaks how they look like, but that's Trishul. And now let's come over here. This is another interesting highlight. This mountain right over here is said to be Drona Parvat, and this is the mountain in Ramalila. Hanumanji came and took Sanjeevani booty from here. He picked up and lifted the mountain from here. This is that mountain over there. Then on the other side there is said to be Hathi, Goda, like that. There is some mountain peaks over there, different mountain peaks. There are many other mountain peaks because it's not visible because of the clouds over there. Now, if you move a little further over there in that area, now if you go just vertically right behind, that's where Badrinath, which is completely covered with snow right now. That's Badrinath over there, and you move on the right of that Badrinath, across that, can say same, that peak, that's our Hemkund over there, like this. Not that, Hemkund is somewhere over there only. Ab exactly kahan pe karke, but that's the point over here. A little history about this place. 1962, India-China war. Chinese army had reached up to Karnaprayag. कर्णप्रयाग तक हम ये सब खो चुके थे. गंगोत्री चला गया था, आपका बद्रीनाथ चला गया था. It was under Chinese army up to Karnaprayag. Karnaprayag is way ahead actually, like this. So उस समय यहाँ military camp बहुत कम military थी. So they came through this Nanda Devi mountain. The Chinese military came from there, and like this. And then, thank God, the government made a decision. We have to chase them away. So then the Indian military came and chased them, and now they're behind Nanda Devi. So this is one part of the India-China border, जहाँ पे India is on the higher altitude and China is on the lower altitude. इसलिए यहाँ पर कोई खबर नहीं आती incursions की. But on other places, particularly like Ladakh, India is on the lower altitude and China is on higher altitude. So they keep on doing incursion like this. So somebody says हिंदी चीनी भाई भाई, क्योंकि चीनी भाई डरा हुआ है, इसलिए हिंदी चीनी भाई भाई इस area में, like that. And what you see here below is a military camp here. So this is actually right up on this. This is almost around 10,000 feet, right? We call feet here, or meters. 10,000 feet, right? Feet. So this is at the 10,000 feet we are sitting right now here. Almost at the same height of Badrinath. So यहाँ पे नीचे military camp है. You will see the snow pods over there. So पर्वत पर आगे भेजने से पहले यहाँ पर military को लाया जाता है. Military man को उनकी training होती है. They get accustomed to the climate, and from this place, then they are sent ahead to different higher altitudes like that. Hare Krishna. Something? Okay. ठीक है. Yeah. मुझे लगा कोई अपना वो आया है. Written झंडी वाला. So yeah. So that's a little story about this place. Now, devotees are asking something we can discuss about Badrinath. जोशीमठ का तो हमने संक्षिप्त में आज मॉर्निंग में डिस्कशन करा था. So Badrinath we spoke during our travel, but I'll make a brief point about it here again. Badrinath, once again, let's go back in the history. The king of this land, Himalayas, is known as Himavan. हिमवान की दो पुत्रियां रही हैं, माता गंगा और दूसरी पुत्री का नाम है उमा देवी पार्वती देवी. तो उमा देवी या पार्वती देवी का विवाह हुआ. नाउ सेम उमा देवी और पार्वती देवी इज नथिंग बट मदर सती. I wish to speak about Mother Sati's incident because this is Haridwar was the first place, Daksha's capital. अगर आज शाम को कहीं जगह मिली तो we'll speak about that incident of Lord Shiva and Daksha in detail. Anyways, so then Mother Sati, when she committed the Sati self-immolation, then she took birth here in the Himalayas as a daughter of Himvan, and then she got married. Of course, she didn't got married before. She had to perform long austerity to actually convince Lord Shiva to get married. And that's what happened. Then they got married. I believe in our short recordings, I had made a point from Gangotri, when you go to Kedarnath, there is a place comes where the marriage ceremony between Parvati and Lord Shiva happened. Those place and the temple is there still, जहाँ पे पार्वती और शिव जी का जन्म और जो विवाह हुआ था, साथ ही साथ वहाँ पे वो लेक आता है जहाँ पर माता पार्वती स्नान कर रही थी, एंड गणेश जी वाज देयर, अनबिनोन टू लॉर्ड शिवा दैट गणेश इज हिज ओन सन. तो माता पार्वती ने कहा था कि यहाँ आने मत देना. सो दैट वाज अ प्राइवेट लेक फॉर लेडीज टू टेक बाथ. सो नाउ भगवान शिवा, या Gaurikund, I believe. मतलब आई एम नॉट सो कॉन्फिडेंट द नेम, सो आई स्किप दैट. सो जब वहाँ पे भगवान शिव पहुँचे तो गणेश जी वाज अ स्मॉल चाइल्ड, ही सेड नो व्हाटएवर ही वाज ग्रोन अप. तो उस समय वो जगह है अभी भी वहाँ पर जहाँ पे उनकी वो ही वाज काइंड ऑफ ही वाज beheaded काइंड ऑफ अ थिंग. और जब माता पार्वती स्नान करके आई, वो पता चला कि अरे मेरे पुत्र का ही वो हो गया है. सो शी वाज वेरी अपसेट. तो उस समय शिव जी ने अपने दूतों को जंगलों में भेजकर कहा था कि जो भी पहला जीव दिखे उसका सिर ले आना. एंड दे फाउंड एलिफेंट. दैट्स हाउ गणेश हैज an elephant head like this. So those places are there, and that route between Gangotri to Kedarnath, that circle over there like this. So this place is in fact more ancient than Kedarnath, Badrinath. अगर देखा जाए आदि शंकराचार्य, आई वॉज मेकिंग पॉइंट जब हम शंकराचार्य जी की गद्दी विजिट करने गए थे, आई वॉज टेलिंग ओवर देयर ऑल्सो. शंकराचार्य जी की कंट्रीब्यूशन की बात करी जाए तो लोग ज़्यादातर सुनते हैं कि उन्होंने वेदांत सूत्रों पे टिप्पणी करी, वैदिक साहित्य को दोबारा से अस्तित्व में लेकर आए, और बुद्धिज़्म जो एक प्रकार से एनिलिज्म और नीलिज्म, नॉट एनिलिज्म, नीलिज्म शून्यवाद जो फिलॉसफी है उसको खंडन करके फिर वैदिक संस्कृति को दोबारा स्थापना किया. But you understand, we have to also understand this point, and we can see that parallel in Srila Prabhupada also. उन्होंने केवल हिस्ट्री या साहित्य को दोबारा एस्टैब्लिश नहीं करा, उन्होंने साथ साथ मंदिर भी एस्टैब्लिश करे. He traveled all over north to south, east to west, and established many temples. Now, when I say established temples, that is incorrect. बिकॉज इस्टेब्लिश तो वो बहुत पहले से थे, पर 2500 साल से लेकर अब तक 1000 साल, मतलब करीबन 1500 साल तक, ड्यू टू द इन्फ्लुएंस ऑफ बुद्धिज्म. आई वाज मेकिंग अ पॉइंट टुडे, दिस इज समथिंग एन इम्पॉर्टेंट लेसन फॉर ऑल ऑफ अस. जनरली द नेचर ऑफ दिस वर्ल्ड इज we start on a right direction, over a period of time we lose track of it. And one thing that in religion happens is, by default, is radicalism. And what radicalism? Just like what had happened prior to 1000 years ago, none of these temples were existing. All these temples were destroyed. All the deities were hidden. Shankaracharya personally went and recovered all these deities, beginning from Narasimhadev at Joshimath, and then Badrinath. There is a kund there at this place called as, Alaknanda. There is a kund over there, icy cold water. And from there, our kya naam hai, this thing, Badri Vishal was discovered. Maybe tab tak kund or somewhere else, or maybe over here at Joshimath mein wo jagah hogi jahan pe kara gaya tha. So like that, the deities were rediscovered. So what had happened with Buddhism? Over a period of time, it became radicalized. Our way is the only way. Deity worship is not allowed, etc., etc. So there was no deity worship happening anywhere here. So I was making a point. I said we have to also be very careful of this little radical attitude which sometimes happens with us also. For example, if you go to Ayodhya, for example, वहाँ से पंडित जी आते हैं या कोई आता है, आपको बोलता है श्री राम, जय जय राम. Generally our response is Hare Krishna, which is good enough. But problem happens when you try to impose on that person, say Hare Krishna. That is radical mindset. That's not good. You have to be careful of this. You chant Hare Krishna, be happy. If somebody is chanting Ram, is it something inferior? No. Why do you impose your idea? You also chant Hare Krishna. Similarly, if let's say somebody is visiting our temple, and let's say he's from another parampara, and let's say they're saying Om Namo Narayana Namah, we say Hare Krishna. Bolo Hare Krishna. Hare, wo chanting Narayana name, na? What's your problem? This is radical mindset actually. So generally, this happens in neophyte state. The lesser the faith, lesser the understanding, the more radical mindset it is, because we want to prove we are the best. So like that. That's what happened with Buddhism over a period of time. All things were destroyed. Adi Shankaracharya came, who is incarnation Lord Shiva. He established all these places like this. All these places were re-established. We'll take that question.
Jai Sri Krishna, is it okay? Jai Sri Krishna bhi bolte hain, is it okay?
Yeah. See, we have to follow Bhagavad Gita philosophy. What is Bhagavad Gita philosophy? And what are our acharyas? If let's say, even Srila Prabhupada, even when he went, recently somebody was asking me, Prabhuji, why did you offer respect to this Mayavadi sannyasi? We were in Gangotri. Okay. How do we deal with them? I say, see, you have to understand, there is an ashram, somebody is a sannyasi, we need to offer respect. We are offering respect for what? We are offering respect for his great austerities. While offering, see, our culture is we offer respect to everyone. In fact, we are supposed to offer respect to every living entity. Our culture is not that because I am worshipping Krishna, then I am the best. That's not our culture. So, if somebody is in a sannyas, point is when we offer respect, Srila Prabhupada said, how do you deal with the devatas? You offer respect, but with an understanding. The devatas are part and parcel of the Lord. So we offer. So when you have a proper understanding, when you offer respect, then you're not losing anything. You're establishing culture. Vaishnava culture is the highest. What do you mean by being the highest? Which means it's the most magnanimous. Which means it's most broad-minded. Which means it takes everyone together. Not that we leave people behind saying you are this, you are that. You're not Krishna Bhakta, so you are like this. No, not like that. We should respect individual faith, what people have, and we should move forward. And if in case you're really serious about it, give them a copy of Bhagavad Gita. Buy a copy of Bhagavad Gita and gift a copy of Bhagavad Gita. Please read the words. Don't superimpose just by saying chant like that. So I've seen many times. We went once to Kurukshetra and there was particular kund. So locals were taking bath and they were chanting some names. So one devotee was there and he was going there, Bolo, Krishna Bolo, Krishna Bolo. And everyone was surprised. Why? Why should? I mean, here we kuch bhi bole. So I was also telling, why you have to say like this? You are chanting, you chant. If you have to preach, then talk to them why we chant Hare Krishna. Don't do that. Anyways, that's a side point about radicalization that happens. So that's the thing. So let's come back to the story again. So this is the king of the Himalayas is Himvan. Himvan had two daughters, Mother Ganges and Mother Uma. Uma की शादी हुई शिवजी से. शादी के बाद दहेज में मिला हिमालय पर्वत. So, so इस प्रकार से this whole land belongs to Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva, initially after getting married, they were residing at Badrinath. So Badrinath was not the name at that point in time. The name came later on when Vishnu came. So I don't remember the name, what was the name at that point in time of that place. उस प्रकार से शिवजी और पार्वती वहाँ रहा करते थे और प्रातः दिन सुबह उठकर वह तप्त कुंड में स्नान या अलकनंदा में स्नान करके उस प्रकार से रहा करते थे. So जहाँ आज बद्रीनाथ मंदिर बताया जाता है, ये वही जगह है जहाँ शिवजी पार्वती रहा करते थे. Exactly at the same place. So एक समय की बात है, विष्णु के मन में इच्छा उठी कि मुझे भी तपस्या करनी है. और उन्होंने कहा शिव जी ने तपस्या करी है तो अच्छी जगह है. तो विष्णु came at this place called as Badrinath, what we know today as Badrinath. He disguised himself as a small boy. और सुबह की प्रातःकालीन की बात थी, छोटे से बालक के रूप में वो पहुंचे वहाँ पर. और सुबह सुबह माता पार्वती और शिव जी जब उठे तो स्नान के लिए जा रहे थे. तो जैसे ही अपने द्वार के दरवाज़ा खोला, अपने घर का दरवाज़ा खोला, जैसे पर घर था जो भी था, तो उसके सामने एक छोटा सा बच्चा सर्दी में काँप रहा है और रो रहा है. माता पार्वती became little compassionate and she turned to Lord Shiva and she said, ओहो देखो कितने कठोर माँ बाप हैं, इतनी कठिन जगह पे जहाँ इतनी बर्फ होता है, इतना कठिन वेदर है, वहाँ पे छोटे से बच्चे को छोड़ के चले गए हैं. I guess we should take care of this child. And Lord Shiva said something very interesting. भगवान शिव जी ने कहा कि देखिए जो भौतिक जीव होते हैं उनके चक्करों में कभी नहीं पड़ना चाहिए. Very interesting, huh? He said, don't get caught up into the affairs of, living entities of this world. We don't, I mean, of course, Shiva knows who's who, but there's a very beautiful lesson that comes over there. Anyways, मतलब पार्वती को गुस्सा आ गया, बोले आप तो तपस्या करते करते बड़े कठोर हो गए हो, छोटा सा बच्चा रो रहा है, समझ नहीं आ रहा. We should definitely take care. So शिव जी ने कहा, देखो मैं आपको वार्न कर रहा हूँ, अगर आपने इसमें को घर में लिया, मैं निश्चित रूप से कहता हूँ आप बेघर हो जाओगे. तो पार्वती ने कहा कोई बात नहीं, क्या बेकार होगा, छोटा सा बालक है तो क्या करेगा ये. It's almost a similar incident when Lord Shiva and Mother Parvati had gone to the ashram of Agastya Muni and they heard whole Ramayana from him and they were returning back. On the way, Lord Ram was going through the Dandakaranya forest. Sita! Sita! Ram Lakshman walking through the forest and Shivji Parvati was walking on the side and Shivji ने जैसे ही राम को देखा, he went behind the tree and offered full danvats. पार्वती बोली, अरे तुम किसको प्रणाम कर रहे हो? शिवजी ने बोला, मेरे प्रभु को, मेरे भगवान को. पार्वती ने बोला, अरे सबसे बड़े तो आप हो, सबसे सर्वश्रेष्ठ हो, आप किसको प्रणाम? वो भी इस व्यक्ति को जो अपनी पत्नी के कहते हैं विरह में सीता सीता करके, और आप तो सबसे बड़े रेनुंसिएट हो, आप उनको प्रणाम कर रहे हो. तो शिव जी ने कहा, देखो वही प्रभु हैं, वही राम है, वही विष्णु है, वही कृष्ण है, वही मेरे इष्ट हैं. लॉर्ड शिव एक्चुअली वर्शिप संकर्षण बिकॉज ही एक्सपेंस फ्रॉम संकर्षण. शिव जी के जो इष्ट हैं वो संकर्षण है. संकर्षण इज नॉट डिफरेंट देन लॉर्ड राम, सो दैट्स अ कनेक्शन लाइक दैट, टेक्निकल कनेक्शन लाइक दैट. तो माता पार्वती ने कहा, देखो नहीं नहीं शिव जी, आपको कंफ्यूजन हुआ है, ये साधारण मनुष्य है, ये आपका प्रभु हो ही नहीं सकता. देखो मैं आपको बताती हूँ कैसे साधारण मनुष्य है. शिव जी सेड, डोंट डू इट, बहुत भारी पड़ेगा, बहुत भारी पड़ेगा. पार्वती बोली, कोई बात नहीं, मैं जाती हूँ. And Mother Parvati dared and she transformed herself in the form of Mother Sita. सीता के रूप में राम के सामने पहुंचती हैं. राम! और प्रभु राम माता पार्वती के आंखों में भी ना देख के उनके चरणों की तरफ देखते हुए कहते हैं, हे माता पार्वती, आप आज जंगल में अकेले घूम रही हैं, हमारे प्रभु शिव जी कहाँ हैं? और तो सोचो माता पार्वती का क्या पसीना छूटा होगा उस समय. वो तो वहां से वहां ऐसी भागी भागी आई. At that time Lord Shiva was already sitting in a meditation. He knew what's happening there. Now Mata Parvati came, she knew. प्रभु से भी डांट खाई है, अभी अपने प्रभु से भी डांट खानी पड़ेगी, अब मैं किसी को मुंह दिखा नहीं सकती. So Mata Parvati came, peacefully she sat there, right over there where Lord Shiva was sitting. After some time Lord Shiva opened his eyes. So मुझे माफ कर दीजिए, गलती हो गई. बोले, मैं माफ करने वाला कोई हूँ ही नहीं. What you have done, actually that was not Parvati, that is Sati. That's not Parvati, that is Sati. So Sati said, please forgive me. So Lord Shiva said, well, what can I do? What you have done is actually a very grievous offense actually. Ram ki, so actually क्या हुआ था? Lord Shiva had told before why Ram is acting like this. सती asked कि भाई अगर आपके प्रभु है, भगवान है, तो ऐसे क्यों फिर रहे हैं और आप उनके समक्ष जाके प्रणाम क्यों नहीं कर रहे? तो शिव जी ने कहा, देखिए हम इस समय वन में हैं, इस वन में सब राक्षस रहते हैं, और अगर मैंने, रावण मेरा भक्त है और मैंने, भक्त तो नहीं कहेंगे, उपासक है, अगर मैंने जाकर इस मनुष्य को प्रणाम किया तो रावण को क्या खबर मिलेगी कि मनुष्य कोई और नहीं, विष्णु है. तो जिस उद्देश्य से राम या विष्णु ने जन्म लिया है, अवतरित हुए हैं, वो खंडन हो जाएगा. क्या है? रावण डर जाएगा. अब रावण और शिव जी का भी एक इंसिडेंट हो चुका है. रावण घूमते घूमते पहुंच गए थे कैलाश पे. उन्होंने पूछा था नारद जी से, कौन है जो मेरा सामना कर सकते हैं? तो काफी जगह भटका, काफी लोग को हरा कर आया. तो नारद जी ने बोल दिया, अगर आपको सामना करना ही है तो जाओ करो, कैलाश पे शिव जी रहते हैं. तो शिव जी बैठे हुए थे ध्यान मुद्रा में. रावण पहुंचा तो सोचा मैं कैलाश को ही उठा के ले जाता हूँ. उसने कैलाश पर्वत के नीचे हाथ डाले और कैलाश को उठाने का प्रयत्न करा, और जैसे उठाने का प्रयत्न करा तो ऑफ कोर्स द होल थिंग विल शेक. और मदर पार्वती ने कहा, अरे ये भूचाल कैसे आ रहा है? शिव जी ने कहा, चिंता मत करो. He took out his feet, he was sitting in this ध्यान मुद्रा, he took out his feet, put on the कैलाश. उन्होंने जैसे अपना अंगूठा रखा, इमीडिएटली सारा भूकंप खत्म और चीखने चिल्लाने की आवाज आ गई. किसकी? रावण की. हाथ फंस गए बेचारे के 10 हाथ फंसे हुए थे. वहां से वो निकालने की कोशिश कर रहा है. For a long time he was stuck like this, and then he got to know that is Lord Shiva. He worshipped Lord Shiva. Then after that he was, Lord Shiva was pleased. She was also known as Ashutosh. So anyways, so इस प्रकार से शिव जी ने कहा कि अगर मैंने प्रणाम उनके सामने जाके किया तो राक्षस के, रावण के दूतों को पता चल जाएगा. रावण के दूत रावण को बताएंगे. जब रावण को पता चलेगा ये कोई साधारण मनुष्य नहीं, विष्णु है, तो रावण निश्चित रूप से सीता को वापस कर देंगे. तो फिर भगवान पे कोई कारण नहीं रहेगा रावण का वध करने के लिए. इसलिए वी हैव डिसाइडेड. एनीवेज, तो जब सती से वो गलती हुई, उसी गलती का फलस्वरूप भविष्य में जाके सती को सती करना पड़ा. That's the whole conflict. There I'll tell you the whole story later on. So this story happened before सती का सती जो हुआ था यहाँ पर हरिद्वार में, जो कंकल नाम की जगह है. That was a reaction of this offense. The relationship conflict between her and her father went. First thing, because she disobeyed Lord Shiva, One thing is once you disobeyed, and on top of it, when the offense happened, then what happens is one is an external reaction. There is another is internal reaction. What is external reaction? External reaction is you may get some suffering. Internal reaction is आपकी offensive mentality बहुत बढ़ जाती है. We become very prone to create more offenses. इसलिए जब भविष्य में दक्षा ने यज्ञ करा था, वो दूसरा यज्ञ था, पहला यज्ञ तो नाश हो गया था. जब दूसरा यज्ञ करा था, पहला यज्ञ तो अंत में सफल हुआ था, बाद में जाके जो भी है, नो पहला यज्ञ तो सफल ही नहीं होता, पहला यज्ञ खंडन हो गया था. दूसरा यज्ञ जब करा था तो यज्ञ वाज लाइक फैमिली फंक्शन. जैसे आज हमारा फैमिली फंक्शन होता है तो हम सभी परिवारजनों को बुलाते हैं. अगर नॉर्थ से कोई है यहाँ पर तो होता था ना हमारा वो रात को दुर्गा का क्या होता था फंक्शन, जागरण. सो वाज इट नॉट अ फैमिली इवेंट? सारे परिवार को बुलाया जाता था. सो यज्ञ वाज लाइक अ फैमिली इवेंट. सो सोचिए दक्ष की उस समय आई बिलीव 16 पुत्रियां थी. इन दैट birth, which was the first birth of Daksha as a son of Brahma, and later on he was born as a son of क्या नाम है, Pachetas. So जब उसकी 16 पुत्रियां थी उसमें से 16th daughter was सती. तो जब सती ने देखा कि उसकी सारी बहनें जा रही हैं, सब रिश्तेदार जा रहे हैं, मैं नहीं जा रही हूँ, तो उसको बहुत दुख लगा. She asked Lord Shiva said, "See, आपके पिताजी मुझसे वैसी द्वेष करते हैं, उन्होंने पहले ही अपराध किया, अगर आप जाओगे." तो एनीवेज दैट्स अ स्टोरी, विल डिस्कस दैट लेटर ऑन. अगर शाम को उस समय मिलता है तो वो दक्षा की कहानी चर्चा करेंगे. तो उस समय दक्षा ने जब सती का अपमान किया तो सती ने अपने आप को शी सेल्फ इमोलेटेड. सो प्रश्न बनता है, हाउ कैन लॉर्ड शिवा's वाइफ, लॉर्ड शिवा नोज एवरीथिंग, सो हाउ कुड शिवा अलाउ दिस? बिकॉज ऑफ द ऑफेंस ऑफ दिस, because of the offense she committed towards Lord Ram. The reaction was that she had to, that situation had to occur later on. Anyways, so after that Mother Sati appeared as a daughter of Himavan. So विष्णु की इच्छा हुई, विष्णु यहाँ पर आए. उस प्रकार से तो हम बात कर रहे थे. तो जब पार्वती ने नहीं सुना, now this is again second lifetime, no Mother Parvati. So शिव जी ने कहा पार्वती से, देखो पार्वती, अगर आपने इस बच्चे को आश्रय दिया तो आपका खुद घर छिन जाएगा. पार्वती ने कहा ऐसे कुछ नहीं होता, कुछ भी कहते रहते हैं, चलो इसको लेकर अंदर जाएंगे. Mother Parvati brought the son inside. They both went to take bath and whatever they had to do. When Shiv and Parvati came back, Mother Parvati tried unlocking the door. चांचक वो दरवाजा अटक गया, ताला ही अटक गया, खुले ही ना. Mother Parvati is surprised and she tried to open the door. She didn't open, and Lord Shiva having a smiling face. And Mother Parvati turned, hey, why are you smiling? I told you. उसको घर दिया बेघर हो जाओगी. So Parvati said, अरे I am no ordinary woman. I am Maya Devi. Who can bewilder me? शिव जी ने कहा, देखो वो छोटा बालक तुम्हें क्यों लग रहा है, माँ बाप छोड़ के जाएंगे छोटे बालक को वहां पे. वो छोटा बालक जो आपको मोहित कर दे. आप दुनिया भर के लोगों को मोहित करती हैं और कोई आपको मोहित कर दे तो सोचने वाली बात है, वो मनुष्य हो ही नहीं सकता. आपको समझ नहीं आई. तो बोले आपका कहने का तात्पर्य क्या है? बोले कहने का तात्पर्य नहीं है, खिड़की से झांको पता चलेगा छोटा बालक कौन है अंदर. And when Mother Parvati looked inside, that was Vishnu. Vishnu said, imagine with 4 hands he's saying, okay, tada bye. And that's the time when Lord Shiva and Parvati left Badrinath and they came to Kedarnath. So since then they have been residing at Kedarnath. Yes.
So originally that would have been Kedarnath if that story.
Whole area is Kedar Khand actually.
Kedarkhand, yeah, that's called.
They decided that they'll move to other side.
Other area करके, yeah. I don't remember the original name of that place. So yeah, Kedarkhand they say. So Narayan.
तो प्रभु जी भगवान विष्णु जबरदस्ती आकर के उनकी जगह में बैठ गया, ऐसा कुछ है क्या?
Okay, so question is coming. अरे क्या हमारे प्रभु जी के पास जगह की कमी थी? दूसरी की संपत्ति हड़प ली? See, actually, when you look at this pastimes or any pastime for that reason, you have to understand. ढंग से बैठा होना चाहिए, मैं दिखेंगे नहीं actually. When you have this pastimes, now see, when you have an intimate relationship, there's nothing of, imagine Shivji is smiling, is all the way smiling. Imagine जब रावण ने कैलाश को हिलाने का पर्वत किया तो क्या हालत करी थी. It's an intimate relationship and they have their own way of reciprocating to each other. Just like Lord Ram, he worshipped Lord Shiva. lot of time people ask this question, अरे शिव जी महान है तो हमने कब मना करा है, वो तो सबसे महान है, महान भक्त है. But people cannot understand this कि अगर महान भक्त होते तो शिव जी की पूजा क्यों करी. इसलिए I always quote that 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita 9.1, जब भगवान श्री कृष्ण जब 9वें अध्याय की चर्चा करते हैं तो पहले श्लोक में कहते हैं, 9वें अध्याय के पहले श्लोक में कहते हैं गुह्यतमम हे अर्जुन, जो मैं अभी आपको ज्ञान बताने वाला हूँ सबसे कॉन्फिडेंशियल है। और भगवत गीता में 3 कॉन्फिडेंशियल ज्ञान बताए गए, गुह्य, गुह्यतः, गुह्यतमम। गुह्य ज्ञान क्या है? गुह्य ज्ञान है 2 अध्याय का, यू आर नॉट द बॉडी बट स्पिरिचुअल। गुह्यतः ज्ञान क्या है? 4 अध्याय का पेप टॉक 4.1 to 4.9, आई एम द सुप्रीम पर्सनालिटी ऑफ गॉडहेड। ईश्वर और जीव में बहुत अंतर होता है। एंड व्हाट इज गुह्यतमम ज्ञान? शुद्ध भक्तों और भगवान का संबंध। वो गुह्यतम मतलब कॉन्फिडेंशियल मीन्स कोई समझ नहीं सकता। कौन समझ सकता है? केवल शुद्ध भक्त। So now when you look at Lord Vishnu came and took up the place of Lord Shiva, this is part of the confidential, intimate relationship. You know, when you love somebody, in fact, you become very happy when they take something from you, isn't it? Let's say you love somebody and they tell you, get me a glass of water. Wouldn't you feel happy? And imagine if you keep doing something and your loved one doesn't get any service, what does it indicate? Which means this person doesn't love you. So in that loving relationship, the behavior is very different. It's beyond the duty platform. Anyways, उस प्रकार से यहाँ पर विष्णु जी आए, विष्णु जी विराजमान हुए। जब विष्णु जी आए तो यहाँ मौसम इतना कड़क रहता है, उस चीज़ को देखते हुए जहाँ पे विष्णु जी बैठ के तपस्या कर रहे थे, वहाँ पर जैसे विष्णु जी के लिए विश्राम के लिए हम पे अन्न शेष होता है, उसी रूप में माता लक्ष्मी यहाँ अवतरित हुई बद्री नाम के वृक्ष में। बद्री नाम का ये व्हाट यू कॉल इट, बेरी, पेरी, हाँ, बेर कहते हैं। सो उस प्रकार से बद्री नाम का जो ये जगह था, अब महाभारत पढ़ते हैं, महाभारत में भी उल्लेख आता है जब युधिष्ठिर महाराज जब आए थे यहाँ पे, जब कहते हैं बद्री का आश्रम उल्लेख आता है, तो क्लियरली लिखा हुआ है दिस होल प्लेस, दैट होल प्लेस वाज सराउंडेड बाय बद्री वृक्षस, trees. Now we don't see that actually. Now you may say, Prabhuji, how do we believe? As much as we reached Gangotri, but there was no Gomukh there. But historically, Gomukh and Gangotri is not different. जो Gomukh glacier है was at Gangotri, because that's a place where our क्या नाम है Bhagirath, he worshipped Lord Shiva there. And जहाँ पे सहस्त्रधारा आती है वहाँ पर बताया जाता है शिवलिंग वहीं पर है। So मतलब that's the same place where Lord Shiva, you know, कहते हैं what do you say, धारण किया, I'm missing the word, but उन्होंने धारण किया गंगा, अपनी जटाओं में धारण किया। So फिर गोमुख पीछे क्यों गया? कलयुग इफेक्ट, the sin of people. So now there is no Badri trees over there. So माता लक्ष्मी ने वो रूप धारण किया था, तब से इस जगह का नाम पड़ा बद्रीनाथ। लक्ष्मी नारायण बद्रीनाथ, बद्री मीन्स लक्ष्मी, लक्ष्मी के नाथ विष्णु। उसी प्रकार से बद्री नारायण, बद्री विशाल, देयर मेनी मेनी नेम्स लाइक दैट। या केदारनाथ यात्रा पे बताएंगे। बद्रीनाथ, बद्री विशाल और बद्री नारायण, इस प्रकार से अलग अलग वो है नाम यहाँ पर। विशाल क्यों? क्योंकि विशाल नाम का एक राजा था जिसने तपस्या करी थी बद्रीनाथ में आके। So anyways, जब लॉर्ड विष्णु came here, he said this place should always be known as Tapobhumi. That place is not meant for sense gratification. कितना ट्राई करो, भगवान कुछ ना कुछ कर ही देते हैं, आपको एक दिन के बाद भागना ही पड़ता है वहाँ से। तो आंधी तूफान आ जाएगी, बारिश आ जाएगी। I mean, in today's technological advancement, I mean, when you have so much technological advancement, can't you fix up things over there? You know, बिजली का issue, पानी का issue, so many. Trust me, this time you came, you got hot water bath. 2019 we came. मेरा मॉर्निंग का बात, जीवन का पहली बार मैंने बात आचमन लेकर करा था। वो आचमन भी एक बूंद से आचमन कर लिया था मैंने। वो ऐसा टपक रहा था आइस जैसा, यू नो, जब का टपका उंगली पे आता था आइस हो रहा था वो सो चिली कोल्ड। और जब हम वहाँ गए थे तो हमें क्लियरली बोला था कि आपको हॉट वाटर बात मिले, हॉट वाटर मिलेगा। वो हॉट वाटर हो ही नहीं रहा था। बोला हमने तो चला रखा है, चल ही नहीं रहा। तो हमको जबरदस्ती आकर तप्त कुंड में नहाना पड़ा था उसलिए। और तप्त कुंड में अलग ही अपनी दूसरी तपस्या थी। सो तप्त कुंड का क्या है? सो भृगु मुनि एक समय में यहाँ रहा करते थे। भृगु मुनि's wife's name was पुलोमा। इंसिडेंटली कोइंसिडेंटली उस समय यहाँ पे एक राक्षस था जिसका नाम भी पुलोमा था। So Bhrigu Muni's wife Pulama was extremely beautiful. 9th canto श्रीमद् भागवतम में इसका उल्लेख आता है। She was extremely beautiful। और वही राक्षस एक बार घूमते घूमते, जैसे कि you know द्रौपदी, same Badrika ashram, same place, Draupadi was also abducted when they were staying here. I'll come back to Draupadi's story later on. So see, when you are in the mountains, the forest, this in those days were actually this was a place where the Rakshas kind of, you can say Now, they were not humans. Rakshas, the Rakshas class is more powerful than human beings. And this is, if this is Prithvi Lok, the next what you get is the Rakshas Lok. If you look at the, as you talk about the, not Asur actually, what do they call it? There is a different word. Yakshas, yeah, they also come under the Rakshas Parvat only, but I believe Rakshasa they call as the look of Rakshasas like that. Okay. So, anyways, so that Puloma नाम का राक्षस आया, and he saw Bhrigu wife. He didn't knew who stays there, and he saw it was same like Ravan and Sita. Surpankhā gave a full testimonial of how Sita looks like. उसी प्रकार से जब उसने देखा तो बड़ा ही प्रभावित हो गया और वो उस आश्रम में पहुंचता है, घर पे पहुंचता है. अब माता पुलोमा ने सोचा, अगेन I would not take the name Puloma again, you'll get confused. I'll say Bhrugu's wife. When Bhrugu's wife saw that man coming there, so she saw there is some sadhu coming here. She did all her hospitality, fed him whatever dates, whatever foods, berries they had that time. However, the Puloma was eating all that, but his eyes was on the beauty of the wife of Bhrigu Muni. He wanted to enjoy. So before he could kidnap, he wanted to know he है कौन. So क्योंकि भृगु मुनि का आश्रम था, तो वहीं पर यज्ञ कुंड की अग्नि जल रही थी. So he invoked अग्नि देवता. And he asked, हे अग्नि देवता, मैं आपसे प्रश्न पूछता हूँ. प्रश्न है कि ये किसका आश्रम है और ये स्त्री कौन है. Now, Agni is said to be the most purest, and being as a devta, you're not supposed to speak a lie. So Agni Devta did not respond. Once, twice, thrice. And then Rakshas was very powerfully said, if you don't, then I'll destroy you. So then Agni Devta was forced, knowing the intention of this man was not good, Agni Devta was forced into saying, well, this is Ashram of Bhrigu Muni, और ये भृगु मुनि की पत्नी है, इनका नाम है पुलोमा. He wanted to know who they are. और जैसे ही पता चला, तुरंत उसने भृगु मुनि की पत्नी को अगवा किया. So first of all, he took a form of a wild bear. He took a huge form of a wild bear, and he lifted Bhrigu Muni's wife, and he began to run through the forest of Himalayas. Puloma was pregnant at that point of time. Bhrigu Muni's wife was pregnant, and on the way, because of that whole incident, she gave birth to a very famous sage by the name of Chayavana Muni. Chayavana, Vana means one way. Chaya means bhagte hue. Chayavana Muni, like that, the boy got a name. And as soon as the boy took birth, I mean, the bear is running away, and the boy fell on the ground. And जैसे ही वो बच्चा गिरा, वो चीखने लगा, दहाड़ने लगा. And when this Rakshasa saw, what is this? Who is there on the ground? Just by the eyes of this newborn child, the Rakshasa was burnt to ashes. That was the potency and the power of the child of Bhrigu Muni, the great sage actually. So finally, the wife of Bhrigu Muni was saved from that demon, and now she picked up the child. She came back to the ashram. When she came back to the ashram, she's terrified, she's crying. In the meantime, Bhrigu Muni जो उस समय किसी सेवा के लिए बाहर गए थे, वो वापस आते हैं. जब वापस आए तो उन्होंने देखा कि उनकी पत्नी रो रही है तो पत्नी से पूछा, तो उन्होंने बताया ऐसा ऐसा इंसिडेंट हुआ, आपका बेटा अभी जन्म हो चुका है, बेटे ने ऐसी शक्ति करी. तो भृगु मुनि ने पूछा, आपके बारे में और मेरे बारे में किसने बताया? So then Bhrigu Muni's wife said, Agni Devta ne. And Bhrigu Muni became extremely upset. And he cursed Agni Devta. Hey Agni Devta, you knew what is virtue. And you knew, you Agni, you knew what is intention. Knowing that, you told that person about our identity. I curse you. From today, you would eat everything. Now, when Agni, see, this is called as Prithvi Lok, this is called as Karma Bhumi. Now, how do Devtas get their strength? Devta get their strength, what Yajna is being performed on Karma Bhumi. And how do Yajna get their ahar? Through the ahuti which is given to the Agni. You remember Mahabharata story? Khandava 1, Agni Devta came to Arjun saying that, please help me. Brahmaji had given me permission to burn this whole Khandava 1 because there are some Ayurvedic medicines here, Jadi Buti, जिसके मेरे खाने से मेरा इंडाइजेशन ठीक हो जाएगा. तो अर्जुन ने पूछा, तुम्हें क्या इंडाइजेशन हो गया? बोले, अब से कई वर्षों पहले एक राजा ने यज्ञ करा था, ऐसा यज्ञ करा, इतना घी डाला, ओवरडोज से जो घी हो गया, उसके वजह से मेरा इंडाइजेशन हो गया है ना. सो आई एम नॉट एबल टू डाइजेस्ट एनीथिंग नाउ. आई नीड सम जड़ी बूटी. So Brahmaji told me in Khandava money you'll get it. I'm trying to burn. That's how incident comes over there. So but the point I'm trying to say is Agni means Devata get their ahuti through Agni. So Agni is supposed to only eat pure things, cannot eat impure. But Bhagavani have given a curse now, you'll eat everything, which means now even impure thing. Agni Devata became extremely angry. He chastised Bhagavani left and right. The whole conversation comes, and after that, then Agni Devata said, well, because you are a Brahmana, out of respect, I will not curse you, although I can curse you, but I will not curse you. So be it. But I'm not happy with what you have done because it cannot happen. I cannot eat everything. Otherwise, this severe curse for me. So therefore, he withdraw all his heat, which means now no yajna would happen. All the yajnas were stopped. When all the yajnas were stopped, so all the Rishi Munis, all the Devtas, everyone is disturbed. The whole cosmic order became disturbed. When the whole cosmic order became disturbed, all the Devtas and Rishi Muni went to Brahmaji. They complained to Brahmaji, देखिए Agni Devta ने ऐसे ऐसे अपनी अग्नि खींच ली है. Now there is no yajna happening. Then Brahmaji besieged or called for Agni Devta. And he asked Agni Devta, what happened? Agni Devta narrated the whole incident. And Brahmaji said, well, I'll turn this curse into a blessing. And what is that? Yes, you will eat everything. But in your external manifestation as fire, you will eat up everything. So wherever you put a fire, it consumes everything. So you will eat everything, yes. In the external form of a fire, wherever you put, you'll consume everything. But in the form of a yajna kund, you'll only accept pure items. And Agni Devta was pleased, and he started that whole thing. But because he had that hatred or little thing thought for the Bhrigu, so he came at the same place to perform tapasya. And at the same place he performed tapasya to please Vishnu. And after a long time, when Lord Vishnu was pleased, Lord Vishnu blessed him. That I bless you that from here, from henceforward, you will always remain by my side. How? In the form of Taptakund. In the form of Taptakund, you would help all my devotees who will come here to help them get a hot water bath. Now, why? What's the need of bath actually? Generally, when we go to temple means the most clean place. So जब भी हम मंदिर जाते हैं तो हाथ पैर धो के जाते हैं, ठीक है. अब आप चलते चलते अनेक दिनों के परिश्रम के बाद आप बद्रीनाथ जी के दर्शन के लिए पहुंच रहे हो तो स्नान लेना तो वाजिब बनता है ना. अब स्नान किससे लोगे? अलकनंदा में स्नान लोगे तो आपकी सटल बॉडी ग्रॉस बॉडी को छोड़ के चली जाएगी, और सटल बॉडी ने ग्रॉस बॉडी को छोड़ दिया तो भूत प्रेत के रूप में दर्शन लोगे. तो भगवान जी ने कहा, सो व्हाट माय डिवोटीज नीड, they need a hot water bath. So now you reside here in the form of Taptakund, and since then Taptakund is there over there. Interesting thing, huh? How Lord cares for all of us. In Kali Yuga he gave water heater.
Just बाजू में अलकनंदा ठंडी एकदम.
So karke, so like this, there is a tapo one ahead here. There also kund is there, hot water bath like that. Hot water is there. So that's the story about your Taptakund. Going back to Badrinath, very, very, very important place. Therefore, Adi Shankaracharya said there are 4 dhams: Badrinath, Dwarkapuri, Rameshwaram, and Jagannath Puri. Why Badrinath is so special? In fact, it is mentioned in Puranas. Among all the dhams, Badrinath is the most special. I don't know how many of you had that experience. If you all went to take darshan, although there was so much chaos, how many of you chanted in the temple? Could sit and chant for some time? Some of you, good. Hare Krishna. What was I saying? It's such a potent place there. Although it was so chaotic, but if you sit and chant, there was such an amazing experience. I sat and chanted all my 16 rounds there. Trust me, although fully wet, and you're wearing hot thermal wears and all that dress and this thing, body is tight. It was the most comfortable and peaceful chanting. I did not feel any uneasiness. Only uneasiness was felt, if there was little uneasiness, was by those devotees who were with me. They were thinking, कब खत्म करेगा ये, कब उठेगा ये, उठ ही नहीं रहा है. And मैंने किसी को कुछ बोला भी नहीं था, मैं कब तक बैठा हूँ. I just sat there. I said, I'm not going. We have come to this all. I mean, we have gone so far for what? Therefore, at Mandakini, I made a point. You have come here to capture experience. We paid too much attention to seeing. How much you remember what you saw? Tell me, who remembers now? What do you see? You don't go to see. You go to show yourself to the Lord. Now, can't Lord see you from a distance? You have to be right in front of the altar for the Lord to see you. It doesn't work like that. So I would request all of you, please come up, overcome this little our human conditioning. Lord फिर के वहीं आते हैं. Seeing is believing. देख लिया. For example, tell me this thing. There are 5 Badris. All are same. Why there is so much such at Badrinath? Why none of you are asking me, Prabhu ji, हमें इस बद्री में लेके जाओ, उस बद्री में लेके जाओ? Somebody was telling me, Prabhu ji, मैं तो बार-बार दर्शन ले रहा था. ठीक है, तो बाकी बद्री के भी दर्शन लेकर आना फिर. You see this human conditioning? Because there is a rush, there has to be something special. But the matter of fact is that speciality was there at Yoga Badri also. That speciality is Bhavishya Badri also. I told you beforehand only that these are embassies. Rules, regulation of worship happens in the same way. The first rule of worship of Badrinath here is can only be worshipped by a brahmachari. Only by brahmachari. If a brahmachari decides to get married, then he has to find another brahmachari to worship. No married person can worship. That's a standard rule followed at all the 5 places like this. So what's the idea behind seeing darshan? If you see, this is becomes like a herd mentality. लोग जा रहे हैं तो कुछ ना कुछ तो होगा या हम जाके बताएंगे हम दर्शन लेकर आए. It's all about I, if you see at the end of the day. मैंने कुछ किया है. But what about the Lord? So this is something you have to be careful. Somewhere we miss out at this point. There's too much attention. Again, Lord फिर के हमारा जो I factor है ना वो छोड़ता नहीं हमें. We again I need to show myself करके. So anyways, so seeing is not the thing. I mean, we saw Narasimhadev also. Exactly what you see. Lord is top to bottom covered. मतलब what you saw. करके. At such places, whenever you go, please do not pay too much attention in seeing. Pay attention in offering prayer. And the Lord is not only going to hear your prayer because you're making a prayer right in front of Him. He'll hear prayer from anywhere when you make a genuine prayer. So don't be behind that. If you get an opportunity, fantastic. But what happens around that area? Please understand, around that area there is a special energy. And in that area, if you get a chance to chant, what you should do? You should offer prayers. And the best prayer is chanting. What is chanting Hare Krishna means? My dear Lord, my dear Mother Srimati Radharani and Lord Shri Krishna, my dear Father and Mother, or my dear Mother and Father, Srimati Radharani and Lord Shri Krishna, kindly engage me in your... This is the best. This is the best prayer. And why we go into this area, this such holy places, to be able to make that prayer with genuine heart. Because it is so potent, it's so favorable. Even I may be filled with all impiety, all impurity, but because I'm put into a place which is full of piety and potency, if I'm put there, that potency would act on me. And who knows, just like in the second chapter, the end, last 72nd verse, Papat quotes example of, what's the name of the king? Khatwanga. We just chanted once. So when you're going there, you should have in mind, maybe my one chanting, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Maybe, by the potency of this holy land, maybe I would be able to chant once purely. That would purify me, take me to another level of, or you can say, I generally like to call it as graduating to next level of consciousness. But if that's kind of not there at the forefront of our mind, then it becomes picnic. Where we went, did a picnic and came back. So I do want to give it a disclaimer and a warning. Please be careful of your association. Don't think that because certain devotee is doing like this is the thumb rule of this place. Because some devotee is taking 10 times darshan, so I need to take 10 times darshan, only then I'll get purified. That is not. This is the way of it. So just do not blindly follow anyone saying that, this is what the way of it. The best way is what I have learned from my own seniors, I've seen from my own spiritual master. In such holy places, we should be chanting. Why chanting Hare Krishna? Because it's a prayer. Why do you come to this place? To make a prayer? And what is the chanting Hare Krishna means? My dear Lord, please engage me in your service. That's the best prayer that we know that we have received in our Guru Parampara. So that's what we should be focusing on. Anyways, so we were talking about this whole Taptakund we spoke about, right? And what else we were talking after that?
Badri.
Badri.
5 Badri. No, I don't know. 5 Badris तो मैं किसी उसमें आया था. Anyways, Narnarayan Rishiki. So this is Badrinath is a very, very holy land. Vishnu have made this as a tapobhumi. This is actually mentioned in scriptures. Lord Vishnu declared it as a tapobhumi. I mean, from that perspective, I think वो तपस्या के लिए बनी है कुछ भी कर लो comfort तो मिलेगा नहीं. Hey, something very interesting happened. Where is that? Mother Suchitra? She was. You were there, right? When that elderly lady had come. Very interesting person. She, one lady came to meet. I mean, she just came by herself. Whatever. That's the details are not really here. So her story I wanted to share. So she had been living in Badrinath for last 20 years by herself, you know. And she said, साधु जी मैंने तलाक नहीं दिया है मैं अभी भी शादीशुदा हूँ बट अपने पति से अलग रहती हूँ क्यों 20 साल पहले मैं यहाँ आई थी जाने का मन ही नहीं किया शी इज फ्रॉम नेपाल शी सेड 20 साल में सिर्फ मैं कोविड के समय 2 साल के लिए गई थी आई बिलीव उस समय शायद पूरा बंद हो गया होगा कुछ हुआ होगा आई डोंट नो आई डिडंट आस्क ऑल दिस थिंग करके आई मीन एक्चुअली शी केम टू मीट बट व्हेन शी केम एंड शी स्पोक टू मी सर्टेन थिंग देन आई आस्क्ड हु आर यू व्हाई यू स्पीकिंग लाइक दिस देन शी टोल्ड मी हर इंट्रोडक्शन like that. And what else she said? 20 years she said. And she said, साधु जी मैं यहाँ पर या तो मधुकारी करती हूँ कोई मुझे भिक्षा में दे देता है तो खा लेती हूँ नहीं तो नहीं कभी मन करता है तो कुक कर लेती हूँ वरना बद्रीनारायण करके मैं यहाँ रहती हूँ मैंने कहा वाह क्या बात है I mean I'm saying you'll find people like this. Actually she brought me a garland of tulsi. She said ये भगवान का ऑफर किया था मैं आपको देना चाहती थी. So she brought that. That's how she started talking to me. Those details anyways. Anything else? That's what she said, right? Okay. Had you captured any moment with her? No? Okay, okay. Oh, she looked beautiful, isn't it? I mean, such a beautiful, I mean, beautiful not in the sense of lust. Beauty in the sense of spiritual beauty. She was a strong lady and extremely charming, extremely beautiful. तो मैंने जब होने के बाद मैंने कहा आप मुझे आप आशीर्वाद दो सो शी बिगेन टू डांस समथिंग शी वाज सिंगिंग सम गुरु गुरु सॉन्ग ना करके शी विल डांस उसके बाद करने के बाद हाँ हाँ आशीर्वाद आशीर्वाद करके और नहीं आई वाज थिंकिंग सम ऑफ यू आई विल टेक यू ओवर देयर बट द मोमेंट वी केम आउट स्टार्टेड रीडिंग अगेन सो देन वी कैन नो शी वाज सिटिंग आई न्यू वेयर शी वाज सिटिंग करके हाँ करके आई थॉट आई विल टेक द मदर्स ऑल ऑफ यू कैन गो एंड टच हर फीट लाइक दैट but what happened it started rain and all that we kind of but yeah wonderful encounter with that holy person so this is a place tapobhumi like this Narnarayan Rishi had performed tapasya at the same place Lord Shri Krishna asked Uddhavji to come to the same place because during Lord Shri Krishna's earthly pastime Lord Shri Krishna visited many places but he never came at Badrika Ashram. This had been the places of rishis and sages. So then he asked Uddhavji, you're not different than I. In fact, you look also like me. So I want you to go and give the message of Srimad Bhagavatam and explain and share everything about me, which the sages at Badrika Ashram had been longing for last 125 years. But I just could not go. So I want you to go. Therefore, Krishna ने उद्धव जी को यहाँ भेजा था. इसलिए जो मेन श्राइन है वहाँ उद्धव जी का भी विग्रह है. Like this. नारायण का विग्रह है, उद्धव जी का विग्रह है, नारद मुनि का विग्रह है because Narad Muni had also come here. He had also worshipped Lord. It was he who asked after coming here, प्रभु आप क्यों आंखें बंद करके बैठे हो? तो विष्णु ने कहा मैं ध्यान कर रहा हूँ. प्रभु आप किस पे ध्यान कर रहे हो? आप पे तो सब दुनिया ध्यान करती है. आप किस पे ध्यान कर रहे हो? तो विष्णु ने कहा मैं अपने पे ध्यान कर रहा हूँ. So in that connection, Prabhupada writes in one of the purpose, well, when it comes to following Lord, we follow His instructions. We do not follow His actions. Krishna can do, Vishnu can meditate on himself, but we are not supposed to. And same thing you see in Mahabharata. One fine morning when Yudhishthira Maharaj had been temporarily, he had agreed to become the king on the condition which Krishna had put कि आप अभी तो at least राज्य संभाल लो, but आपकी जो मन में विडम्बना है वो हम भीष्म पितामह से सुलह कराएंगे, but अभी प्रजा को पिता चाहिए, you know, प्रजा का अगर नाथ ना हो तो उसको अनाथ कहा जाता है, तो आपको राजा बनना पड़ेगा. So the moment he accepted the crown, very next morning he came to the palace of Lord Krishna in Hastinapur, right? And Mangalarti, 4:30, not for Mangalarti darshan. भगवान को ये बताने के लिए कब जाएंगे भीष्म पितामह मिलने के लिए. He was so restless, Yudhishthira Maharaj. He didn't want to be king. Anyways, so when Yudhishthira Maharaj came to the Lord Krishna's place, then he saw surprisingly Lord Shri Krishna was up and sitting in meditation with eyes closed. And Yudhishthira like, oh, भगवान क्यों आंखें बंद करके बैठे हैं? And then after a good amount of time, when Lord Shri Krishna opened his eyes and he looked at Yudhishthira, oh, Yudhishthira, you're here? Yudhishthira says, yes, Prabhu, I came here. But if you think I'm qualified, can I know whom you're meditating? And Lord Shri Krishna gave a very beautiful answer. Krishna said, I'm meditating on one who is meditating on me. And who was that? Bhishma Pitama. So, as I said, confidentiality of the relationship of the Lord and his devotees. So, Lord meditates on his devotees, devotee Lord meditates on the Lord. Anyways, over in this particular incident, Lord said, I'm meditating on myself. Like that. So, Narad Muni also resides here, therefore, we have a vigraha of Narad Muni. Another thing about Narad Muni over here is, so जब भगवान ने विग्रह रूप में अपनी सेवा का आदेश दिया कि विग्रह रूप में मेरी सेवा होनी चाहिए, तब भगवान ने एक प्रकार से एक रूल बनाया. यहाँ जो पृथ्वी लोक के मनुष्य हैं वो 6 महीने सेवा करेंगे और जो देवलोक के हैं वो 6 महीने सेवा करेंगे. तो मनुष्य लोग अभी फिलहाल अभी की प्रथा करी, अभी की परंपरा की बात करी जाए, आई बिलीव इट कम्स अंडर ये कहते हैं साउथ इंडिया से केरला के ब्राह्मण, इफ आई एम करेक्ट, बिकॉज दिस इज शंकराचार्य डिसाइपलिक लिनेज में वो पूजा आराधना होती है. और देवताओं की तरफ से कौन पूजा आराधना करते हैं? नारद मुनि. So he is the chief Brahman or priest for our Badrinath ji is Narad Muni. Like this on the altar, they have kept a deity of Lord Narad also, like this. And Dhruv Maharaj, 4th canto Srimad Bhagavatam talks about it. He caught his Vaikuntha Airlines from here. You know, Badrika Ashram. You see all through ages, Badrika Ashram has been mentioned. So he came at Badrika Ashram. Pandavas came. I mean, it will take a lot of time to speak all about their activities. I spoke on the recording about it. You can hear. Pandavas spent good amount of time. In fact, Pandavas grew in this place, Pandukeshwar. They had their childhood activities there, and then we grew up, and then later on again in Vanvas. So why did Pandavas came here at Vanvas? What was the reason? The reason was simple. Anyone knows who didn't hear the recording? For them asking question. They started their journey from Haryana, Kamyakavan. From there they began the journey. And why they came up on the mountain? That too at Badrika Ashram. They stayed here for good amount of time. So those who have heard the answer from me for this, don't answer. Anyone else knows why Pandavas came here and lived for a long time? Yes. Why do they want to go to heavenly abode? Anyone else?
Just a guess, Prabhuji, because it's a tab bhumi. Maybe they are preparing themselves.
Okay, no. That's also not anything else?
Probably to get that heavy weapon.
To get the weapon? Okay. So when 5 years of the Vanvas had ended, at that point of time, Vyasadevji had come, long story, very short. Vyasadevji had come and given a very special mantra to Yudhishthir. By the power of the chanting of that mantra, anyone who chants the mantra can now run at the speed of wind. So his walking would be like a speed of wind, like that. So Vyasadevji ने युधिष्ठिर को कहा था कि आप ये मंत्र अर्जुन को देना, और 5 साल हो चुके हैं, 13 साल वनवास के हैं. अब अर्जुन का समय आ गया है कि वह स्वर्ग जाए और वहां से दिव्य अस्त्र शस्त्र का ज्ञान प्राप्त करे, उसको लेकर आए. उसके लिए मैंने मंत्र दिया है ताकि वो हिमालय की तरफ जा सके. That's not the route which Arjuna had taken. Arjuna had taken different road to go, towards that place. So क्योंकि 5 साल अर्जुन इंद्रलोक रहे थे, तो अर्जुन के विरह में सब दुखी थे. युधिष्ठिर, नकुल, सहदेव, भीम, द्रौपदी सब दुखी थे. तो उनको पता चल चुका था कि अब अर्जुन आने वाले हैं, तो अर्जुन को वेलकम करने के लिए आए थे. So they thought we should go as close to Arjun, because this is the first place Arjun gonna descend. So that's how they climbed up in the anticipation कि अर्जुन अगर स्वर्ग लोक से आएंगे पहले तो इसी जगह आएंगे, उनको बताया गया. तो that's the reason they came and lived in Badrika Ashram. But when they came to Badrika Ashram, then they were notified, no, not here. Badrika Ashram, they came and stayed for a long time, and after that they were notified, not here, it's further ahead. Then they traveled further ahead. That all detail comes in Mahabharata. And this is not the place where Arjun first descended. Arjun descended on the mountain range very high. That's where. But what happened here in Mahabharata, which is mentioned, is one fine morning, Draupadi was sitting at the bank of Alaknanda and suddenly she saw a celestial lotus flower with 1,000 petals. When she saw that, she was so enamored. I mean, what all this majestic Himalayas hold, we don't know about it. Incredible things. So she saw that 1,000-petal lotus and she requested him that I would like to make a garland for Yudhishthira. Can you bring me this? मुझे तो कुछ ना कुछ एडवेंचर के लिए चाहिए, धन्यवाद. Bhim had caught a lot of chaos here on the Himalayas. He was really chastised by the sages here. That's not my topic of our talk. When Bhim said here, we'll not discuss that. So then, Alaknanda उस stream को follow करते करते, that stream, particular stream जहाँ से वो flower आया था, was going up in the mountain. So Bhim is a son of Vayu. His He's like jumping from one mountain to another mountain. He leaped high, went, and he went, and he disappeared in the clouds. And when he climbed up, he came to a place called as Alkapuri, which is the capital of Kuber. So Prithvilok, and the next is Yakshalok. And that's the place from where Bhimsen entered Yakshalok. And when he went there, he saw extremely beautiful, neat and clean place. No extreme weather like what we have on this earth right now. And there was a huge lake, and that lake, the stream which was going down on earth, that stream had many, many lotus flowers like those 1,000 petals. And he followed the stream and he came across a big pond that had many, many special flowers. Extremely fragrant place, extremely beautiful place. And then he saw some yakshas taking baths. So Bhimsen, whose permission he needs? He jumped and started plucking flowers. And then there was a whole fight and all that. And when Bhimsen didn't appear for a long time, then Yudhishthira Maharaj got worried. Yudhishthira, Draupadi, where is Bhim? Because Yudhishthira was really worried about Bhim. Because जब भी वो जंगल में जाते थे कोई आतंक फैला कर आते थे. So Yudhishthira, sages told Yudhishthira, particularly Mahabharata mentioned, sages told Yudhishthira, keep an eye on your brother. He's disturbing the the peaceful environment. Or Bhimsen ko, I mean, he was a Kshatriya, had the stand of 10,000 elephant. He need to flex his muscle, na. So जंगलों में वो खोजा करते थे शेर हाथी का है, और शेर को मिलता था झापड़ लगा देते थे. तो एक कंडीशन ऐसी आ गई थी, जब भीम जंगल में जाते थे ना, तो सारे जानवर भागते थे उल्टी डायरेक्शन. शेर हाथी भाग जाते थे, भागो भीम आ गया करके. So when he did not appear for a long time because Yaksha and Bhimsen की युद्ध शुरू हो गया ऊपर. I'm not going into details of that incident. So when that didn't happen, so Yudhishthira को बताया Mother Draupadi ने, I saw Bhim King over there. Then Yudhishthira along with Nakul Sahadeva went up there, and then they came to Alkapuri. I mean, it was not the Alkapuri, it was a fringe, it was a boundary of Alkapuri. And then they saw Bhimsen in a huge fight with Yakshas, huge army of Yaksha, which was at the boundary of it. And then Yudhishthira Maharaj also got engaged, Nakul Sahadeva got engaged, and they're trying to reconcile. So the huge fight happened. And from there, I believe there was an incident, and then the chief of the army of Kuber was actually killed by Bhima. And when that happened, then Kuber was pulled into the war. When Kuber was pulled into the war, like Yudhishthira Maharaj is not going to fight with the Devta. And even Bhimsen cannot fight with the Devta. Bhimsen would get defeated. At that point of time, I believe Vayu Devta or somebody had appeared, or some sage had appeared, and they said, hey Kuber, calm down. The death of your commander was already foretold because of his. So he had actually offended one sage. Yeah, he had offended some sage because of which he had got a curse that he would get killed. And he said, the person who appeared there, he said, Maniman was the name of the commander. He said, Maniman was destined to be killed because of the curse. Kuber, make peace with Yudhishthira. You cannot harm Pandavas. They are pure devotees of the Lord. You cannot. And like that, Kuber and Pandavas had a peace. And then Kuber invited Yudhishthira Maharaj to Alkapuri. And when they entered there, there's a very beautiful description about what a celestial and a beautiful place. Everything changed around it. And it is mentioned, Yudhishthira Maharaj says, Ab jaane ka man nahi. And then Draupadi was called in over there, and then they stayed over there for some time. And then Kuberji said, I know where Arjuna is going to come. So they spent almost 6 months to 1 year at that place also. Like that, some time over there they spent. So that's the reason we have the deity or of Kuber on the altar, like that. So Kuber is discussed, Narayana Rishi is discussed, Narayana Rishi, Urvashi, the famous celestial model Urvashi, Apsara, was born here in Badrika Ashram. In the recent history, in the recent times, Madhavacharya had visited this place. When Madhavacharya came here, he had performed 48 days of Nirjal fasting at Badrinath. He sat at Badrinath for 48 days. He did not eat in the morning. Every early morning he'll wake up, he'll take a bath in the Alaknanda. It's not mentioned Taptakund. It's mentioned Saraswati, he will take bath. He'll take bath. By the way, Alaknanda, that same stream also has Saraswati. The place where there is a Bhim pool. Okay, what is this Bhim pool? So when Krishna had disappeared, Arjuna told Yudhishthira decided to conclude his pastime. So again all the Pandavas came via this route. So जहाँ हम कल जाने वाले थे मानगांव, उस मानगांव से आगे होते हुए वहाँ से एक रास्ता आता है जहाँ पे जब वो पहुँचे, वो स्वर्गरोहण का रास्ता कहते हैं. जहाँ पहुँचे तो 2 पहाड़ियों के बीच में, मतलब देयर वाज अ बिग डिस्टेंस बिटवीन टू माउंटेन्स, नाउ नोबडी कुड क्रॉस थ्रू इट, बट भीमसेन कुड डू इट, ही कुड जंप ओवर अ लॉन्ग डिस्टेंस। तो सब युधिष्ठिर महाराज वो समझ नहीं है क्या करना है, तो उस समय भीमसेन ने एक छोटा सा पत्थर उठा के रखा था। मैं छोटा सा प्रभाव आपको दिखाना चाहता था, वो बहुत बड़ी चट्टान है, विच हैज इज लाइक अ ब्रिज। तो भीमसेन ने उठा के दो पर्वतों के बीच में रखा था, तो उसको कहा जाता है भीम पुल। उसको क्रॉस करके फिर आप जाते हैं वसुधारा फॉल्स, फिर आता है सतोपंथ, सतोपंथ के आगे फिर आगे जाके जगह शुरू होती है जहाँ आपका सबसे पहले द्रौपदी, फिर सहदेव, फिर नकुल, फिर अर्जुन, फिर भीम, जिन्होंने अपने अपने शरीर त्यागे थे। और फिर आगे जाके ऑलमोस्ट अ 7 day plus trek like that. I don't think so. When I spoke to the Pujari of Vyas Gufa last time, he said no human can reach the place where Yudhishthira reached. But up to somewhere up to Bhimsen तक पहुंच सकते हैं, वो जगह तक मनुष्य, people can reach there. It is said, our bus driver also telling, he takes people on track there. He said जहाँ भीमसेन का शरीर गिरा था ना, उस चट्टान पे बहुत बड़ी जगह, बहुत अच्छा खासा शरीर होगा, तो उस स्पेसिफिक लैंड में अपने आप हर साल गेहूँ उगते हैं, अपने आप फसल कटती है, और अपने आप हर साल गेहूँ उगता है। अब भीम जी को भूख तो लगती होगी ना, तो उस प्रकार से बोला वो हर साल होता है अपने आप फसल, और फसल ऐसी काटी लगती है जैसे काटा गया। नो ह्यूमन बीइंग स्टेज है, फॉरगेट अबाउट दैट, तुम भीम पुल को क्रॉस करोगे तभी नो मैंस लैंड शुरू हो जाता है। That's the reason I was really wanted to give you that experience, to take you that place, to show you what it means to be no man's land. This is not no man's land. No man's land means you can hear the sound from far distance of what's happening in the nature. When we went last time, we were like, we are lost. It was like that place, in kind of place. Anyways, so that's Swargarohan Marg. वहाँ पे आगे आता है भीम जी पांडवों की कहानी. So in the modern history, so that's the way where Pandavas went up. Yudhishthira went up to the heaven, and Yamraji has accompanied Yudhishthira as a dog at that point of time. In the modern history, we had Madhvacharya, many other great sages come. Guru Nanak ji had also come here. So the track at that point of time was not like what we do it. So the track in those days was going through the mountains itself. Not that you come down. So you talk about Guru Nanak ji, you talk about Madhvacharya, you talk about many other sages who have come here. They would go, let's say they go to Kedarnath. So Madhavacharya had not gone to Kedarnath, but I'm just saying Guru Nanak ji had gone. So when he went to Kedarnath, from Kedarnath से ही पीछे से पहाड़ी रास्ता आता है, वहाँ से ट्रैकिंग करते हुए आज भी कर सकते हैं. So for that you have to carry your own food and tent, because it's almost a couple of days trek. You know, those who want to trek from Kedarnath, you can walk up to Badrinath. It's a trek from the mountains like that. Okay, उस प्रकार से आए थे. So Madhavacharya, when he reached there at Badrinath, a very young age, Badrinath, he came with one purpose. He had carried along with him his commentary of Bhagavad Gita. Gita Bhasya, I believe, was the name of the, not something, Gita Bhasya, there is one more word to that. He brought his commentary here. He took permission from his sannyas guru, and he came here along with some of his disciples. Satyatit was one of his senior most and very intimate disciple, who was also elderly in age to our Madhavacharya. So like that, Madhavacharya came here, and when he came to Badrinath, his disciples were also here, and for 48 days he performed that austerity. Whole day he was meditating on the Lord, and in the morning he'll take bath. It is mentioned on the 48th day time when he was performing meditation, he saw a divine personality enter the room of the Badrinath temple and appear to him and directing him that your eternal Guru Vyasdev ji is waiting up in Upper Badri. There are 5 Badris here, and there is a 6th Badri which is not accessible to humans, Upper Badri, where Vyasdev ji is waiting. You should leave immediately. And Madhvacharya immediately went. When Madhvacharya went, so he told his disciple, it's a place which is inaccessible to humans, so nobody should follow behind me. But the Satyatirth, if I'm correct with the name of the disciple, was extremely loyal to Madhvacharya. He could not live without Madhvacharya. And simultaneously, when you love somebody, just like Mother Yashoda's love for Krishna, you can never accept Krishna to be God. Similarly, when you love somebody dearly, you're always worried about the well-being, regardless of who that person may be. Even the Supreme Personality of God. तो सत्यातीत सोच, अरे मैं अपने गुरु को कैसे अकेले जाना छोड़ सकता हूँ? इतना जटिल रास्ता है, उनका कौन देखभाल रखेगा? Now Madhvacharya, he is said to be son of Vayu, he is also said to be younger brother of Bhim, etc., etc. So when that divine vision had happened, so Madhvacharya was such a special potency. So he was just like Bhimsen of Mahabharata. He was leaping across mountains. He was running like anything. And here Satyatirth used all his logic to explain to other disciples that what Guru meant by nobody should come. Guru meant that nobody should come is, except for Satyatirtha, nobody should come. He had to really use his logical mindset and use many. This whole thing mentioned how Satyatirtha had to tell कि no, Guru ने कहा कि कोई नहीं आएगा, मतलब Satyatirtha के अलावा कोई नहीं आएगा. So he convinced all of the disciples and he started going behind. And he saw Madhvacharya is running, disappearing. And finally came to a point which was at the end of the day, up on the mountain, and to whatever distance he could travel up on there, Badrinath is right behind, up on the Badrinath there. Now in the night it's frigid cold out in the mountain. Now it's not only cold, you have wild animals. And one of the interesting things about this place of Himalayas is there are extremely poisonous snakes. So you have up on the mountain, there is extremely chilly wind which is going to blow. Now, the one reason you can die because of that. Second thing, there are wild animals, leopards and all that. Now, Satyatirtha बेचारा वो आगे चल भी नहीं पा रहा है, उसके गुरु आंखों से almost लुप्त होते जा रहे हैं, तो बताया जाता है. At that point of time, Madhvacharya turned back and he saw, looked way down below at the disciple, and looking at his condition, he waved his hand. And immediately Satyatirtha flew from that place and immediately landed at Badrinath. And from there Madhvacharya went up and finally he reached a place. And what an incredible description is given. This is, I'm quoting from Madhava Vijay, where about Madhvacharya's whole journey has been described. What all he encountered during his travels. From there this trip is mentioned. And when he reached that place, suddenly that whole harsh weather disappeared. It's just like you're crossing from one zone to another zone. He entered there, extremely peaceful, extremely pleasant. All kinds of varieties of trees laden with fruits and flowers, extremely beautiful fragrance all around. And Shanti itni, when you breathe, you can experience, you can hear the sound of your breathing. And when he looked around, he saw the sages of the bygone ages, which Madhvacharya had read in scriptures, all of them sitting there. Extremely effulgent, extremely beautiful. And then further he reached. So when he reached, the sages realized somebody has come. So some of the sages came. He said, "Arey, aap kaun hai? Aap kahan se aaye hain? Like, who are you? How have you come here?" That's the point Vyasadeva ji sent one of his disciples to inform them. This is none other than illustrious Madhvacharya, who has come from planet Earth. So this Upper Badri, where Lord Narayan resides eternally, is where Madhvacharya went. Long story short, he went and had a meeting with Vyasadeva ji. He sat at the lotus feet of Vyasadeva. He heard from Vyasadeva and he narrated. Vyasadeva ji asked, "I know you have written your commentary. Please read." So he narrated all his commentary to Vyasadeva. When he asked any corrections, Vyasadeva said, "No, whatever written is perfect." Like that, he heard from Vyasadeva, and then Vyasadeva ji took him to meet other sages. And finally, this is what Madhvacharya comes back and explained to all his disciples. And then Vyasadeva took him to meet Narayan. So at Upper Badri, Lord Narayan is sitting in his throne by himself there even today. And Madhvacharya went and met Lord Narayan, had a meeting with Lord Narayan like that, blessing Lord Narayan. And then finally after that, he was given a celestial garland. And after getting his blessings from Vyasadeva, blessings from Lord Narayan himself, therefore we say Brahma, Madhava, Kaudiya Parampara. So who is the special master? Although special master of Madhvacharya was someone else who gave initiation here, but ultimately it was Srila Vyasadeva who instructed Madhvacharya and empowered Madhvacharya, and Madhvacharya came back adorned with those celestial garlands. And then Madhvacharya narrated the whole story, which is documented in Madhava Vijay. Like that is a place. So I was just thinking, I said, हम अपने आप को कितना कुछ महान क्यों ना समझ लें, but we cannot be as great as Satyatirth of that age. If the Satyatirth could not keep up with Madhvacharya, and if Satyatirth could not be allowed entry where Madhvacharya was given entry, now Satyatirth must be a very extremely pious soul. So अपना तो कुछ है ही नहीं. what we are. Sometimes कुछ समय की भक्ति की याद करने के बाद हमें लगता है हम बड़े शुद्ध हो गए हैं, हम भी थोड़े महान हो गए हैं, है ना. अभी नहीं हो तो अभी पता नहीं चलेगा, कुछ साल रुको फिर पता चलेगा. मन में ख्याल आने लगते हैं कि हम भी कुछ हैं, हमारी भक्ति का भी स्तर हो गया है, हमारी भी शुद्धता का स्तर हो गया. तो when I was reading, I felt really humbled. I said, imagine what would be the level of Satyatirth. He was not given entry. He was not allowed. Only Madhvacharya. So point is, this whole idea, I'm sharing my reflection, this whole idea that I should have vision of Lord, or Lord, I should get darshan of the Lord. Therefore, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, try to serve in such a way that Lord wants to see you. And that's what Madhvacharya did. He served in such a way that he was personally invited by Srila Vyasadeva to Aparabhadri, isn't it? So the same principle. So our focus and attention should be that I serve nicely, so that... See, Madhvacharya was personally invited because he was given the divine vision. Now Satyatirth was also Madhvacharya's foremost disciple, but he was not given that entry. So question can be raised. So question is nothing. The answer is simple. As Prabhupada taught us, as Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur, as all Acharya says, that rather than trying to make an attempt to see the Lord, try to serve the Lord in such a way, Lord wants to see you. When Lord wants to see you, you'll be empowered with everything. It doesn't matter how old or young you are. But what we should focus on? Service. How? Das Anudas. Serving in the mood of the servant, of the servant, of the servant. Like this. Otherwise, what's our ability? So when I was reading this, I felt really humble. I said, किस खेत की मूली हम? क्या है? कुछ भी नहीं है. सत्यतीर्थ को परमिशन नहीं मिली. I was feeling really sad. बेचारा सत्यतीर्थ. चला जाता गुरु के संग क्या प्रॉब्लम है? गुरु का पक्का चेला था. But no, he was not. Therefore, Guru did not take him because he was not given access that point of time, like that. So like this is the glory of this beautiful place called as Badrinath, Badrika Ashram. The potency of that place, because for centuries and yugas, many great sages, in fact Lord himself as Narayana Rishi have performed tapasya. So there is special spiritual vibrations. At that point of time, chanting the names of the Lord and things like this become very easy, very sublime, like that. So these are some of the things, and rest all our details. If I get into details, it takes a lot of time about it. So long story short, we started with a little bit of history and significance of the peaks that you see around. We a little bit talked about 1962 war, what had happened at this situation. Then we spoke about Badrinath. Then we also have one last thing, maybe I can make a point, which you're going to see tomorrow, is Panch Prayag or 5 Prayags. It's considered extremely sacred. Not all the Prayags. So we have these 5 Prayags. One Prayag is at Badrinath also, that is called as Keshava Prayag, where there is a conference of Mother Saraswati and Alaknanda. But we have these 5 Prayags which are considered particularly important because they are directly related with some incarnation of the Lord. Either Lord Vishnu had appeared, like Vishnu Prayag, Lord Vishnu had appeared being pleased with the worship of Narada Muni. At some place, Lord Ram personally came and performed tapasya. After the killing of Ravana, Lord Ram and Lakshman come. So like this, we have different Prayag. Karna Prayag, Rudra Prayag, then we have Deva Prayag. Deva Prayag is the place where Lord Ram and Lakshman had come and performed tapasya. So tomorrow when we go, it's difficult for us to promise that we'll get down at all the Prayags, which is not practical actually, because it's a long distance. But we will definitely want to get down at Dev Prayag, which is considered one of the very, very holiest. And there we have this one very special temple of Lord Ram. Very special temple of Lord Ram. Very ancient temple of Lord Ram. And at Dev Prayag we reach, which is just an hour before Rishikesh, which means the weather would also be pretty pleasant, not cold. Dev Prayag is a place where definitely we should try to take quick bath. So we'll let you know tomorrow's schedule. Today evening we'll have a meeting with our team, with our bus operators to understand how much time we'll take for where. And like that we'll do that. So this is in short about this place. Shri Badrinath Dham ki Jai, Badrinath Deva ki Jai, Hare Krishna. Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Narayan Rishi ki Jai, Uddhav ji ki Jai, Narada Muni ki Jai, Kuber Devta ki Jai, Samasta Vaishnav Gana ki Jai. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Trust me, we couldn't have found a better place than this, in this neighborhood. जोशी मठ में तो बहुत ट्राई करा, सबको बैठने की जगह नहीं मिलती. एंड इट्स प्रीटी पीसफुल, इजंट इट, एंड प्रीटी कंफर्टेबल ऑल्सो. ज़्यादा लोग परेशान दिखे नहीं कि वातावरण ऐसा है, डिस्टर्ब करने के लिए कोई कुछ नहीं है करके. इज़ अ प्रीटी प्लेजेंट प्लेस, पॉल्यूशन से अवे ये करके. So we had two very fantastic places during this trip. One at that Mandakini. What was that place? Tilwara. Tilwara ke paas, that was a very, very beautiful place. And Kirtan, that place deserved Kirtan. So we had nice Kirtans there. And here I believe maybe some katha was kind of thing. We did some katha here. Any questions or any comments? We can take that something, few things. Yes, we have second, no mic to नहीं होगा. प्रभु बोलते रहिए.
प्रभु जी, मेरा क्वेश्चन है कि एक बार मैरिज होने के बाद ब्रह्मचर्य टूट जाता है. ब्रह्मचर्य का क्या मतलब है?
देखिए, एक होता है नैष्ठिक ब्रह्मचारी, एक होता है उपकुर्वाणा ब्रह्मचारी. नैष्ठिक ब्रह्मचारी मीन्स जिसने विवाह नहीं किया है वो आजीवन ब्रह्मचारी का पालन करेगा. उपकुर्वाणा ब्रह्मचारी कौन होता है? जो शादी कर चुका है पर शादी के बाद भी ब्रह्मचारी कहलाएगा, परंतु वह जो he only uses his potency for giving birth to a child, not otherwise. You understood? Matlab, he will come and unite with his wife only for the purpose of procreating. If he does so, he is also called as brahmachari. But that is called as upakurvana brahmachari. But यहाँ किन ब्रह्मचारी की, जैसे नरसिम्हदेव की वगैरह की पूजा है, नैष्ठिक ब्रह्मचारी, ये विधान बनाए हुए हैं शुरुआत से भगवान के द्वारा. तो ऐसे यहाँ पे भी नैष्ठिक ब्रह्मचारी. सो गृहस्थ भी ब्रह्मचारी कहलाता है, गृहस्थ ब्रह्मचारी. बट उसको टेक्निकली उसको कहा जाता है उपकुर्वाणा ब्रह्मचारी. किस स्थिति में? व्हेन ही हैज यूज्ड हिज सेंसेस ओनली फॉर द पर्पस ऑफ प्रोक्रिएशन. ऑलराइट, एनीथिंग एल्स? यस, हाँ वो उमेश प्रभु.
प्रभु जी, ये क्वेश्चन हम लोग लास्ट टाइम जो लिए थे, राइट, केरला स्टोरी से. तो ये केरला स्टोरी तो नहीं है, लेकिन मेरा एक फ्रेंड है, वो भी ब्राह्मण परिवार से आता है, उसके पापा भी पुजारी हैं. तो उसने अभी जो आपने गणेश भगवान और शंकर भगवान वाली जो स्टोरी बताई थी, राइट, कि कोई भी फर्स्ट एनिमल मिले तो उसका गला काट के ले आना, राइट. तो उसका क्वेश्चन ये था, जब and you then he like he was thinking that you daily going, so you can ask from Baba. Okay, so that I forgot or something happened, so I could not ask. Okay,
What's the question?
The question is that, okay, तुम्हारे शंकर भगवान, what he told, I am repeating same thing. Okay, ये वो ब्राह्मण परिवार से, same thing he told. Okay, तुम्हारे शंकर भगवान कैसे हैं जो अपने सेल्फिश के लिए, एक तो उसने,
Okay, long story short, if I get the question, गणेश जी की रक्षा के लिए
नहीं, अपने खुद की गलती करी और उसने क्या बोलते हैं, अपने बेटे का गला काटा, और उसके बाद उसके ऊपर और गलती ये कर रहे हैं कि एक इनोसेंट एनिमल है, ठीक है, उसका गला काट कर आ रहे हैं. तो ये कैसे, क्यों?
See, that's what I know. Who was that? There is a girl here, right? She was our Dubai congregation's daughter. Where is she? Sudevi. कहाँ है वो?
नहीं है, नीचे सुदेवी.
अच्छा, नीचे ही है, ऊपर नहीं है. So she was asking me a question yesterday about something. What was she asking? I kind of forgot. हाँ, एकादशी को लेकर she was asking करके, निर्जल एकादशी को लेकर. Anyways, so हाँ, she was saying, प्रभु जी, जैसे भीमसेन को एक एकादशी का मौका मिला था और बाकी एकादशी का फल मिलता था, तो क्या हम नहीं कर सकते? मैं कहा, देखिए, very first lesson we have to learn is of obedience. You know, I always say, what is for us? To follow, to obey, to serve, and service is my credit. Service is my blessing. The three. To obey, to serve, and service is the blessing. Now I said, see, why are you comparing yourself as कहते हैं भीमसेन? कि भीमसेन को अगर मैं एक बार निर्जल एकादशी, if that is the way, then tomorrow somebody will come and say, okay, let me compare myself with गरुड़ जी, कि गरुड़ जी मछली खाते हैं तो मैं मछली खा सकता हूँ. एंड अपेरेंटली यू आर फ्रॉम बंगाल. मैं कहता तो अगली बार यात्रा में मुझसे ये प्रश्न पूछोगे तो आई एम जस्ट जोकिंग. मैं कहता तो बंगाल से तो बोलोगे, प्रभु जी आपने निर्जल एकादशी को बोल दिया, अब तो अगली बार मछली खाऊंगी मैं. मैं देखो, ऐसे नहीं होता. हर व्यक्ति अपने स्तर का होता है, उस स्तर के लिए विधि विधान दिए गए होते हैं. आप अपने स्तर के नियमों का पालन करो. किसका पालन करो? जो आपके गुरु ने कहा है. That is your situation. Forget what is the rules and regulation for Bhimsen. Now when it comes to Lord Shiva, you're talking about Lord Shiva. You know, so that's altogether different situation there. Lord Shiva taking a decision to kill elephant. Imagine if you want to save a life of one very, very important person. For that, somebody's life has to be sacrificed. Anyways, what is the value of elephant's life? जो लिविंग एंटिटी, जो भी जीवात्मा उस हाथी के शरीर में है, उससे क्या किसी का कुछ कल्याण हो रहा है? वो तो पाप कर्म के कारण फंसी हुई है ना वहाँ पे। जब उसका वध हुआ है, डोंट यू थिंक सो शिवजी हैज दैट पोटेंसी दैट कैन एलिवेट दैट एलिफेंट टू अ ह्यूमन बर्थ, बट यू एंड आई कैन नॉट डू इट, क्योंकि अपना पता नहीं। हम 4 हाथ का सपना ले रहे हैं कि अगले जन्म में विष्णुदूत मिलेंगे, कहीं 4 पैर मिल गए तो हाँ है ना, इट्स अ फुल पॉसिबिलिटी ना। सभी तो 4 हाथ का सपना लेकर बैठे हैं, अपना भरोसा नहीं, 4 पैर मिल गए तो अगले जन्म में। सो एनीवेज, लॉन्ग स्टोरी शॉर्ट, सो दैट्स द पॉइंट ओवर हियर. Shivji can do that, and he would have done that. Not that because Shivji said it's a selfish thing. And Ganesh removes inauspiciousness. हाथी कौन सा inauspicious हटा रहा है? By saving the life of Ganesh ji, you worship Ganesh ji. Ganesh ji is said to be who removes all inauspiciousness. So like that has to be. वो क्या है ना, हम जब चर्चा करते हैं विषयों पे, हम सामने वाले व्यक्ति को अपने स्तर पे ले आते हैं. And then we think, and this is nothing but envy. This is envy of the Supreme Lord. It's a clear sign of envy. Are you comparing yourself, Lord Shiva? Ask him. You are Lord Shiva? Then drink poison. Poison पी के दिखाओ, हलाल पी के दिखाओ, तब बात करो शिव जी ने गलत किया है. हलाल पी के जीवित रह सकते हो तो बात करो, मतलब नहीं है ना. So we should never pick up one incident like that. All right? Yes, mother.
Prabhuji, you said that don't focus on seeing, focus on allowing the God to see you. So, ordinary human being can think, I can just sit down at home and do tapasya and do jap and do service, and there's no necessity to travel so far. And how does it help him?
See, if it is a question about we coming out, or let's say the coming out for yatra, the yatras actually infuses you with the spiritual energy to go on rest of the year to perform tapasya at home. You cannot perform tapasya at home if you don't get nourishment from such pilgrimages. Pilgrimages are part and parcel of devotee's life. How many of you agree with that? Imagine you stay at home, you know what is the level. Abhi aap jaake dekhna. When you go back, you will see your spiritual energy going down. Depends on your level of holding on to that energy, and after a few days, you'll be back on the same track as you had before coming for yatra. घर पे कोई तपस्या थोड़ी ना है, घर में रहना ही अपनी तपस्या है. Anything else? Yes, Anshupu.
3 क्वेश्चन. पहला क्वेश्चन कि दर्शन हम लोग करने गए थे, उसमें 7 डिटीज थे, उसमें लक्ष्मी जी क्यों नहीं?
लक्ष्मी जी नहीं थी वहाँ पर, क्यों नहीं थी? अब ये सब तो मुझे नहीं पता क्यों नहीं थी. बाहर महालक्ष्मी.
ऑल्टर में नहीं है. ऑल्टर जैसे मेन उद्धव जी थे, इसमें नारद मुनि थे.
That's so पुजारियों से पूछना पड़ेगा. I don't know about it.
हाँ प्रभु जी, I heard somewhere because that's why वो जो नास्टिकी ब्राह्मण जो है वो इसीलिए पूजा करते हैं क्योंकि वहाँ पे उन्होंने लक्ष्मी जी को एज अ वाइफ में यहाँ पे स्वीकार नहीं करा. ही इज एज अ तपस्वी, so he's not.
हाँ, नास्टिक ब्रह्मचारी is because he's a yogi.
So he's not accepting Lakshmi ji.
That's a good connection actually, because there Lakshmi is not there for that reason, because there will be rasabhas, na? Okay, that mood over there is of yoga, and Lord is in actually yoga position, so there's no purpose of having a wife there. And then Mother Lakshmi's temple is outside on the left hand side, Mahalakshmi there. That's a fine, good connection. Correct.
And
what else?
Second question is, among all the 5 Badri ashrams, why this Badrinath is important? Like rush.
No, this is the place where tapasya happened. This is the place actually, Badrika Ashram, this whole ancient history. Na? The question should be largely, what about these 4 Badris? That I don't know. Like this 5 Badri, there are also 5 Kedar. There are 5 Prayag. Who is well educated in this part of land and the history would be able to tell, I told you there is Keshav Prayag up there. Keshav Prayag is a sangam of your Saraswati. Bhimpul jahan wo Keshav Prayag hai. There's sangam of that. And there is 5 Kedar also. So, but that what we are talking about is the place of Badrika Ashram. That's where Narayana Rishi, that's where Vishnu came. Question is, what are the 4 other Badris? उसमें योग बद्री का तो हमें पता है, वहाँ पे बद्री का पूजा होता है. भविष्य बद्री का पता है. Other 2 Badris are also there. They have this, they have little significance there. But why 5 Badris are established? That history I don't know. That clarity. 5 Kedar, I don't know.
Scientific reason of Taptakund, is there any lava or something like?
Sulfur.
Sulfur.
It's because of sulfur, something is there with that. I don't want to pay attention to science because our more towards the science than the actual story. Because the modern science makes us atheist. And our already atheistic mind will say, अरे सल्फर डाइऑक्साइड निकल रहा है, क्या कह रहे हो तुम ये, कोई अग्नि को वरदान नहीं मिला, इसलिए मैंने उसका कुछ कहीं नहीं पढ़ा उसके बारे में. ऑल राइट.
But it has high medicinal properties also because of high content of sulfur.
Okay. Okay. Yes, Prabhu.
Do you have any past time of Gaudiya Vaishnavacharya Guru Parampara, Prabhupada in Badrinath?
Prabhupada have not come over here. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also did not came to this part of the land. I am not sure of Bhakti. I have not come across Bhaktivinoda Thakur, of course not. Bhakti Siddhanta, not probably not has come here. Up to Rishikesh, definitely. Up to Rishikesh. Beyond that, probably not. See, you understand, in those days we talk about, it was one-way street. ऊपर गया, गया. Because of the austerities you had to perform here just to come, there were no roads, you know. Prabhupada time, of course. Bhakti Siddhanta, maybe some, because Britishers made some road to a certain area. Badrinath, impossible. So if you see in scriptures, we say, somebody saying going to north means Himalayas, which means
Yeah.
Antim Sanskar.
No, they say they're not going. They say they're going only.
Yeah, why Antim Sanskar? So that's the idea. So they never came over here.
But we see Madhvacharya, Ramacharya.
Yes. See, Madhavacharya came to meet Vyasdev ji. That's the reason. Ramanujacharya would also have come for the purpose of preaching. They travel all over the place, na? In those days, like that.
What are the 5 names of Badrinath?
2 other Badris I'll have to see again. It's up in the recording. I've shared the names of the. Yes.
प्रभु जी जैसे आपने बताया कि भगवान की एक्टिविटीज को फॉलो कॉपी नहीं करते.
Don't copy the actions of Lord. Copy or follow the teachings of the Lord.
तो वैसे ही गुरु के इंस्ट्रक्शंस को फॉलो करते उनकी एक्टिविटीज को फॉलो.
No, you should follow instructions. This is a very good question. We should not, what you call as copy the action becomes imitation. We should never do that. It becomes very artificial, and again that is very superficial. We are supposed to follow instructions because that is meant for my level. Where am I? We should follow instructions, not imitate like that. You can be inspired by the actions, which inspires you towards your bhakti is good, but not to do like that. Imagine somebody begins to dress like Srila Prabhupada, holds the stick like Srila Prabhupada, walks like Srila Prabhupada. लोग आएंगे, मैं तो बोलूँगा पागल हो गया, ये क्या कर रहे हैं? Isn't it? It's crazy. So yeah, not. We should follow. We can be inspired by the action. We should be inspired by the action, but we should follow instructions. Anything else over here? Yes.
You touched upon the part of offensive mentality when you were describing.
Yeah, when you commit an offense, there is a subtle offensive mentality. Therefore, you have to be very careful of fault finders. If time permits, I'll speak. You know, such a dangerous is now. You know, somebody does fault finding and says, "I'm sorry," but there's no guarantee that he will not find fault again. This is a classic example, and it went to 2 lifetimes. You know, so we have to be careful. We have to be careful. Okay. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. So shall we continue?